people have started asking one another is, what do we even do now? Where do we go from here? It's important that we as people of God care for one another within our faith community and within the broader community as well. And the first way for us to do that is to practice the social distancing that authorities are talking about. Lest we mistake how serious of a situation we're in, let me just remind us all that the World Health Organization has called this time a global pandemic. The federal, state, and county governments have all declared a state of emergency. Even though we might not feel sick, even though we might not know anyone who feels sick, and even though there might not be any confirmed cases in Ontario County yet, coronavirus is serious, and we need to act like it is. Extreme social distancing means avoiding contact, physical contact with one another as much as possible. In this way, we mitigate the spread of germs and make it so that we do what experts are calling flatten the curve. If we come into too much contact with each other too early on, then so many people will get sick all right away that will overwhelm our medical systems, like what has happened in Italy. But if we practice extreme social distancing, that will allow us to flatten that bell curve, to smooth out the curve so that people are not getting sick all at once, so that our medical establishments, our hospitals and such, are not getting overwhelmed with more patients than they can accommodate. It's our responsibility as people of God to be concerned about the physical well-being of ourselves and those around us. This is how we do that. Yet in the meantime, the work of God still needs to be done, and so we'll use technology for those that have it available to them. Many meetings will happen online via platforms like Zoom. We'll use our YouTube channel like we are now to upload music and scriptures, prayer, meditations, things like that. Charity and I have been in conversation about the ways that we can continue to do that as the weeks unfold. You will not be without worship leadership. We'll use email as well to keep in contact with one another, all the while recognizing that not all of us are on Facebook, email, YouTube, and so on. Not all of us have internet access in our homes. And so to that end, we'll also develop a formalized phone tree. I'll look for volunteers. I'll call upon you to volunteer to be one of the callers on the phone tree. And when you do so volunteer, I'll assign to you 3 or 4 individuals to check in on, to make sure that even those who aren't online are in close contact with their faith community and are being spiritually fed through this season. I'll also ask for volunteers, and some of you have already volunteered for this, to be personal shoppers. This is not something that we'll use very often. Again, we're trying to keep ourselves socially distanced, but every once in a while, someone among us may need some groceries to be delivered or medications to be picked up from the pharmacy. And so some of you have already volunteered to help in those ways. We can continue to protect ourselves and each other from the spread of germs by dropping those deliveries on doorsteps and front porches so that we're not coming into physical contact with each other. If you are able and willing to volunteer to be a phone caller or a personal shopper or both, please contact me so that I can add you to the list that I'll be developing. All the while, I'm in conversation now with some of our community leaders, with Stu Einstein from the Community Lunch Program, with Sage Gerling, the city manager. We're talking about the needs of the community that'll arise over the next weeks and months. Things like childcare for families whose children are being kept home from school, as the schools will be closed. Things like food for families who count on the free breakfasts and lunches that the schools provide. We'll work out ways that we as a faith community can share God's holy love with our neighbors, even and especially now. Stay close to your phone. Stay close to your computer if you have one. and trust that we will be in touch with you soon. We're all in this together, and as John Wesley said hundreds of years ago, best of all, God is with us. Thanks be to God, and thank you for being God's light. Amen.